I don't know if y'all can see my hair, but it's a vibe all the time. But yeah, y'all, this is my first time doing my, okay, scratch that. Hey YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Akila, and today we are going to be talking about my backpack trip to Chicago. Backpack trip to Chicago. Backpack trip to Chicago. Backpack trip to Chicago. Let's get right into this video. So y'all, I backpacked Chicago for 24 hours, and this is how it went. So we ended up waking up really early that morning. I remember the day before, my mom was all like, pack your bags, we're going to Chicago. And I was all like, Chicago? Really? Chicago? So we ended up packing. We didn't even pack our bags. We basically like just took whatever we needed for that day. Like, we went early in the morning at like 3 a.m. and we caught a flight there. And the flight was like 3 hours long. And we ended up coming back that night, and we made it home by like 12 a.m. So I guess, yeah, almost 24 hours. So what I put in my backpack was, I had my red travel backpack. I put me a jacket in there, but I had on just like a regular shirt. And y'all, when I tell y'all Converse is not walking shoes, I knew in my head that Converse was not walking shoes, but I wanted to wear the Converse because it went with my outfit. That is the only reason why I wanted to wear the Converse. Yeah, ended up hurting my feet. But so yeah, I didn't really put nothing in my backpack but a jacket. I put my tripod stand in there because I wanted to vlog Chicago, but I didn't really end up vlogging. Like, this is at the time where I was still trying to think if I wanted to be a YouTuber, if I didn't want to be a YouTuber. After I packed my bag, we woke up at like, I don't know what time we woke up, I'm not sure, but I know it was super early in the morning, and we went straight to the airport and we got on the flight to Chicago. And I believe this was around like 3 a.m. If I find a video, I will insert it and I will post the time that it said, but I'm not sure what time we went to Chicago. But I know we flew out on the plane, and it was me, my mom, and my little brother, and we went to Chicago. And y'all, that plane ride is nothing to be played with. Like, it's like the same distance to Florida. Like, that plane ride is long. Like, I don't even know. The longest plane ride I ever been on was like 5.5 hours. And that was from here, Texas, to Puerto Rico. And that was crazy. And if y'all want a story about me going to Puerto Rico by myself, I will do that in the next video. After we got off the plane, my mom's genius plan was to just wing it. And honestly, it wasn't a bad idea. Like, I feel like we should just go more places and just wing it. Yeah, it took us a minute to find where we were going because we had to go underground because we was getting on the trains. And this is my first time ever being on a train. I was so excited. We don't have the underground train station. We don't have none of that down here. So it was kind of cool for me to see that for the first time. And yeah, we got down there and we was asking the lady, like the security guard was all like, we don't know what to do. We never been to Chicago. Like, what is there to do? And she said, y'all came down here without a plan. And my mom was all like, yeah. And then she busted out laughing at us. And she was all like, well, I can try to show you a lot of the places that the tourists and stuff go, if you want to do that. Mom was like, it don't matter, it's whatever. Like, we really want to see the bean, and as long as we see the bean, that's fine. And the lady was all like, well, I can point you in this direction where the mall and the bean and all of this stuff is in Chicago. So we ended up looking at this map that was on a wall or something, and she was showing us like all the different places we can go and like how long it would take to get there by train. And y'all, when I say I didn't know the train rides was this long, why are the train rides so long? Like, we're on a train, we're going straight to the destination. Why is the train ride so long? And they only stop at like a station for like a minute, like literally like 1 minute. Like, you got 1 minute to get on the train and get off the train. So why did it take us so long to get there? That was the only downfall that I had about Chicago. I remember taking the Red Line train. I believe that was in Chicago. I believe we took the Red Line train in Chicago, and it took us 1 hour and 30 minutes to reach our destination. We had finally made it to the stop, and we come from like underground. I was so amazed. I was so amazed that I didn't see any rats when I did. But yeah, so we made it, and then my mom was looking around. She was like, I don't see the beam, I don't see the beam. And me, I was just like, well, let me look it up on my little phone and stuff. And I looked it up, and it told us to just start walking straight and we'll see it. So apparently we wasn't too far from it. We was just on the wrong side of the street. So we started walking, and we went to these little shops. Y'all, they have a shop down there. I don't know what the shop is called. I don't know if I got the name of the shop, but they have shops down there, and they literally have everything in there. And it's just like a Five and Below down here in Texas. I don't know if y'all have Five and Belows where y'all from, but a Five and Below is basically like everything in the store is $5 or less. Well, not no more, but it used to be back like 4 or 5 years ago. It used to be everything in the store was $5 or less. Now they got a $30 section in Five and Below, and everything in the store is like $30 or less, whatever. But down there they had like I want to say it was like a trend store. I don't know what it was called. It was like a trend store, but they had like literally everything you can think of. And it was so cold at the time. It was so cold down there. My mom bought a scarf out of there. She bought a jacket out of there. And yeah, and I had on like, I was freezing. I had on like this sweatshirt with some tights and Converse. I was cold. It was very cold down there when we went. And we went during like, we went at the end of the summer, or it was summertime, because they said this is the last time they was gonna get good weather. But yeah, so we went to the little store, and it was like such a vibe. I think I got a few hats out of there. Mom got a scarf, shirt, and they shirts was like, everything was like $10 or less. Like, I'm not even lying to you. Like, their clothes were like so cute. Like, everything in there was just like so nice. And we ended up getting a Disney bag out of there. Yeah, it was nice. And then we ended up leaving, and it was so cold outside, y'all. And at this time it was like cloudy. It looked like it was gonna rain outside. Yeah, it was so cloudy and it was cold, but we ended up just like kept walking, following the GPS. The GPS said that we were like 5 minutes away, but like we didn't see the beam, and like we just kept walking. It was like an endless street, and we just like kept walking. And I was all like, what the heck? Like, we're not seeing anything. And it said like, kept telling us, turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right. And we didn't see anything. And then my mom just ended up looking it up on her phone, and it said that we were 2 minutes away and that we just need to like go over. So where we were at, we were like it was like Chicago. It's like Chicago got a whole bunch of tall buildings and skyscrapers, and where we were at, the tall buildings and stuff was on like this side, so we couldn't see anything on this side. And then on this side, it was like more tall buildings, but it wasn't like as bad. So like we can kind of look and just like see, but it looked like people houses, like living complexes and like stuff like that. That's when we seen everything. We've seen so much stuff. Like, Chicago is so beautiful. Like, this is the stuff you see on movies. When I seen Chicago, I was just like, oh, this is so so beautiful. We seen the beam, we seen this big old stadium looking thing, we seen these big old pillars, and they had like water shooting out of them. Like we seen like this garden looking thing. Like it was so nice. We seen like 4 weddings, and like they was playing like this loud music in front of this music museum. Like I just thought it was like the coolest experience ever. Like the day we went on was literally just so perfect, and like it was just so beautiful. And by this time, like it started to warm up. It was getting a little warm outside, but it was still cold. And yeah, so we ended up like just taking pictures, being tourists. We was just walking down the street. We was just looking at all the tourist stuff, and we ended up going to the beam first, because the beam was like across the street. Like I said, it was like across the street. We ended up going to the beam, and oh my gosh, like I don't know. Like I'm mind blown. Like the beam was like I don't know why people wants to see this stuff in person, but like I'm the type of person that like wants to go see something just because I want to say that I've seen it. But like I walked up to it and I was like, wow, like it's a gigantic jelly bean, or a gigantic bean. And yeah, it was pretty cool actually. Like by this time it had got so hot outside, like we were sweating. Like the weather changed like really quick, and it got so hot outside, we were sweating. And I went up to that beam, y'all, and I touched it, because you know, like everybody touches it. Like I touched it, and I was just like, wow. It's like a big mirror, and it's basically just like a big mirror, and it like reflects any and everybody. And yeah, I touched it. It was like so cool. It was like cool to the touch. Like you touch some ice. When you touch ice, yeah, that's how it felt. It felt like when you touch ice. It was like, it was cold. I thought it was pretty cool. Like it was really hot outside, and I went under it, and it's like so cool under there. I guess because it's so like, I don't know, but it was cool. I was kind of scared to go under it first, because I was just like, what if it just breaks? Like you always got them what if questions in your head, but I just thought it was a real cool experience. So I was like one of the few people, like I think it was me and like 2 other people, but I had like my tripod stand, and I had my camera. I don't have my camera and my computer. It had all my Chicago stuff on there. So much fun. They also had this little thing, like these big old like brick looking things. I don't know, they were so tall, and like the people, it showed like faces, and like one of the little girls looked like me. Like oh my god, I was like, oh my god, it looked like me, but I know it wasn't me. But they showed these people, and the people would spit out water like every 5 to 10 minutes. And like it was like just basically a gigantic splash pad, and it was like really nice. I took some pictures in it. I took some pictures of my mom in it. It was really nice. After we seen the beam and stuff, it was kind of a blur after that. I think we wanted to go get something to eat, because we just kept walking like down the street, because we really didn't have no plan. So we just kept walking down the street. I think we went to, that was our first time trying crumble cookie. And the cookie was so amazing. It's my mama's favorite cookie to this day. She didn't even want that cookie. She was like looking at me like, that cookie looks like diabetes in cookie form. And I was just like, I don't care, I want it. Like it was like that. I think it's called birthday cake. I think the cookie was called birthday cake. It only comes like once a year, and it just passed. So like, yeah, that cookie was so amazing. And yeah, that was our first time trying crumble cookie, and yeah, it was amazing. And 10 out of 10 recommended. Also, after we went to Crumble Cookie, I think we went to Garrett's, my mama's favorite popcorn place, and we bought some Garrett's popcorn. That popcorn is always bomb. Yeah, so after we went to Garrett's, I think we went on this boat. We had ended up finding us a boat tour somehow, some way, and we got on the boat. And at this time, it was getting close to the end of the day. It was almost time for us to go. So we got on the boat, and the boat tour was just showing us like everything that we can do. And the boat tour was like an hour and a half long, and it showed us everything. It showed us we went like down the Chicago River, the one that they turn green every year, and it showed us like what building does what, why is this building sitting here. It was actually really nice or whatever. And then we went out there into the ocean, and it was just showing us like a whole bunch of stuff, like look at the line, look at the skyline, and it was showing us like different things, like, oh, there's an aquarium right there. Usually when people come down here to Chicago, they go to Pier 34, and it was just showing us like, I'm sorry, a whole lot of people was texting me, but they was just showing us like a whole bunch of stuff that tourists usually do, and we didn't do any of that. And I was just like, Mom, we need to come back to Chicago, because we didn't do any of that. Like, we literally just made up stuff, and it was so much fun though. It was really hot. It got really hot during the day too, but we was on that boat, and it got really cold, and the man was all like, don't it feel good out here? And he had on shorts, and like a lot of people had on shorts, and he was all like, this is one of our last good days of Chicago. He said, because it's all down here, hill from here, y'all know we're getting snow next. And I was all like, dang, like we thought Texas was bipolar, Chicago was bipolar. But yeah, it was pretty awesome. After the boat tour, we got off the boat, and I was just explaining to Mama, like, we definitely need to come back to Chicago. Like, this was an amazing trip. I never thought, like, there would be so much stuff to do in Chicago. Like, I literally thought that Chicago was like a San Francisco. I literally thought San Francisco was gonna be my favorite spot, but, like, when I went to San Francisco, it definitely was not. And that is a story for another time, and I would definitely be doing that story later on in the future. But Chicago was definitely a vibe. Chicago overall was a whole vibe, and I give Chicago like a 10 out of 10. Okay, no, maybe I'll give Chicago like an 8 out of 10. I did not want to leave Chicago. Like, it was so sad. But yeah, it was so much fun. Like, I freaking love Chicago. I would move to Chicago. Like, that's how much I loved it. Very great place to visit, not a great place to stay is what I heard. But yeah, Chicago was a vibe, y'all. And that is the end of the video. I hope y'all liked today's video. If y'all want more content like this, just comment down below and let me know. If you can please like this video, give this video a thumbs up, please, and subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell. See y'all next time, guys. Bye.